Hello and welcome to Bullet Bill's Big Three. I'm your host Baron Marth, and I'm joined as always by the man of the hour, the one and the only Angry Link. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, getting there. Well, it's been a bit of a ball ache today, hasn't it?
Yeah, so shit done fucked up. That's how I'm gonna throw it out there. Things have gone hideously wrong today. Audio is gonna be different. It's all up in your ears. It's changed. We've just had to cobble a podcast together, haven't we?
Yeah, we're doing it somewhat remotely today. Um, so yeah, some various situations have come up, and obviously it's not allowed us to be present together. So we've done what we can to get the podcast out to you today.
And you've got ears, folks, and that's how it goes. So look, it's going to be what it's like if it's shonky. Well, you know what they say. Oh shit, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But either way, let's crack right on with Bullet Bill's Big Three. So hitting up for the first bounties. I mean, well, before we get too stuck into the bounties, we should mention the scores, I guess, because the comeback kid over here doing his thing.
Well, you
We're at
started
six
it.
four. Yeah, but man, I'm on my way back. I'm chasing you. I'm hunting you down. So six to Link, four to me. Victory taken by myself last week, and this week, we're gonna chuck a couple of bounties out there, hit the bonus bounty, see who gets it. So Link, what you got?
Some big No Man's Sky news. There's an update being teased for August, and I've also seen this
Ooh.
morning there's going to be a big announcement on the 21st of July. So this all started a few weeks ago with an ARG called the Walk of the Waking. This involved various members of the community getting sent cassette tapes for anyone, obviously,
Sorry,
too
when you
young.
say ARG,
An augmented
what are we
reality game.
talking?
So basically, this
Ah,
is this is like. Do you remember we've said about the Binding of Isaac stuff and all of that bollocks, where it's completely outside of the game? It's a case of having to go out and dig something up in the San Diego pier, kind of thing. It's one of those stuff.
mm,
So this has involved various members of the community getting sent cassette tapes, and on these cassette tapes was an audio signal, which, when played about with the right stuff and putting it through the right equipment, gave out a letter portal. And obviously this has then led to various websites and phone numbers and radio stations. And obviously within these sites were hidden a series of puzzles. Or so once these have been sort of solved and various lore has been opened up, various other images have also then been released. Obviously, the confirmation that this was all to do with Hello Games is No Man's Sky was obviously one of the puzzles was then formed in game. So obviously this has all gone on over the past few weeks. After this has all been done, 180 copies of
yeah.
No Man's Sky were then sent to the players that have taken part in this ARG. And a new PDF was released signalling the end of the first phase of 3 phases. And again, obviously, Hello Games have sort of popped up again in the news this morning, or I noticed it this morning, that they're going to have a big announcement on the 21st of July. So yeah, some interesting stuff and some hidden mysteries about. But yeah, should
Ooh,
know more in the sort of next week or two. What's going on? But yeah,
exciting times.
yeah, this is
Well,
the kind.
it's nice to see No Man's Sky actually coming back to life a little bit. Yeah.
This is the thing.
It's been a while.
Well, we had the big Pathfinder update a few months back, and obviously they promised from well ahead of the release of the game that they're going to continue to update the game and add stuff to it and try and build the world a bit better. So this is, it's a foot in the right direction. Obviously, we don't know any of the details about the Waking Titan, but obviously it's a somewhat ominous title, and it could throw out some really good stuff.
It could end up actually being a full game.
Well, a lot of people would argue that it's about time, uh, but they've added some fairly big updates with the two that they've had, or the big content drops. Obviously, you had the new ships options and the base options for the first one, and then obviously there was more options for your base for the second time around. Again, the 3 different ship types and vehicles as well. It's looking forward to seeing what's going to drop. Might actually drag me back into it because I've still left that untouched. Well, not untouched, but for a while at least. But nice,
I feel like
looking
I only
forward
ever
to it.
really touched the absolute surface of that game. I never really sort of delved into it. I like the idea of it and I like the premise behind it. I just found I was never really sucked in to the point where I needed to start cutting through the game and getting things done and achieving stuff.
I think
Shame, really.
the big miss from it was sort of online co-op, being able to meet up and like going as a little wing squadron of like 3 or 4 of you just mooching around the universe. That sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
that's what it needed.
Yeah. So hopefully, well, we can speculate and hope that something crops up in the near future. But yeah, so that was my first. That was my big news for the week for me. What about yourself? What was your
Impressive.
bullet?
Well, sticking with the whole VR thing, Mario Kart, baby, yeah! Or more importantly, Mario Kart Arcade GP VR. Boom, there it is. Lots of letters thrown at you. So somewhere out yonder in sort of the Asian territory, somebody has created the holy grail of Mario
I
Kart,
think
so,
yeah.
and
The
they built
Sorry, carry on. I've
well
interrupted you there,
functioning,
Mark.
yeah, function. That's all right, man. Yeah, functional working VR Mario Kart. Boom, there it is. Mic drop. There it is. I've said it. It's out there.
Yeah, because it's Bandai Namco. It's their
Easy for
VR
you to say.
arcade, isn't it, in Japan? I think it's in Shinjuku. I think it is. But yeah, they've got a few
Yeah,
games
so
in there.
basically
But Mario Kart VR.
they've been slapping high fives with the HTC Vive and people are loving it. Just talking about sort of silly little things like when you're in the game, looking at Bowser, how bigger he is than you, just racing along, getting nudged along, the friendly faces of Luigi, and man, it looks amazing. Yeah, for me personally, if I had to do anything in VR, that's where I need to be. I need to be sat in a full cradled mini little cart with the steering wheel, with the pedals, happy days, VR headset on, huge PT piranhas snapping at you as you're driving through the racetrack. Amazing. Yeah, I love it.
So I suppose the next question then, Baron, is when did you book your ticket to Japan? Because I'm thinking Mario Kart
So,
session, just an evening in
man,
Japan.
if you are gonna do it,
Let's spend
that's
three
the way
days
to do it.
traveling for a few hours in Tokyo. But no, it does look
What's that
amazing.
still?
Looking at some of the pictures of the actual arcade setup, like you say, it's the whole an actual proper full size cart you're sat in. I mean, I don't know how it works with the weapons if you've got like your controller or it's just done on a button on the steering wheel. But it was amazing, like you say, looking like right actually looking at the person you want to throw the banana or the shell at, and actually just like bam, there you go, have a banana,
Get
have a
some.
shell,
Yeah.
and it did look awesome. And it's one of those
It's
things
the
that,
scale for me.
yeah,
The scale just blew my mind.
well, it is one of those though, isn't it? You never really appreciate, like you were saying with Bowser, the sheer difference in sizes, because obviously there's never been a first person view in a Mario Kart game, so it's
Exactly. No,
um
it's just sort of mind blowing.
unbelievable videos. I mean, even all of like the VR other games they've got in there, because I think they've got a Dragon Ball Z one. I can't remember the other one they've got, but we need to like. This is why Japan always is on the technological forefront. I mean, you look at arcades when we've looked at previously, sort of last year, some of the arcade games you got, like the Attack on Titan one. How good was that? It's like, oh yeah, have like Titan gas fire rounds in. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Now they get
I mean, I
Mario
still
Kart
think of
VR.
like, yeah, exactly. And like, I still think of like Fist of the North Star with the like six punch pads. That
We
was
did get that
amazing.
one though. We did get that one. That was, I remember that
Yeah,
was always,
eventually.
obviously going into a bit of an Uncharted, but that was always the arcade cabinet that I promised I'd buy myself if I won the lottery or become rich.
Yeah, man, without a doubt.
Because you think,
So there we go. I mean, the last point I kind of like touch on real quick on this is just kind of if you think like how successfully that's captured people's imaginations of Mario Kart just by somebody putting something together using like a HTC Vive and just your usual sort of rig for a racing game. That's got to get Nintendo's ears pricking up on that. They've got to be paying attention.
Yeah, well, I think like most of Nintendo sort of dips into the market. It's sort of we'll see how it pans out first, and then we'll jump in, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's exciting
So
times though. We might see some Switch VR, maybe, maybe,
yeah, who
maybe.
knows? Who knows?
So
Cool. So there we go. That's the second bounty for the week, and now the bonus bounty, the showdown. Scores sat at 6-4, and Link, you've got it this week as well, haven't you?
yeah, again, he stretches out further into the leads. Yeah, it seems that some rather resourceful, cunning people have gone through all of the system modules, the applets, and the data archives on the Nintendo Switch, and they have found themselves a cheeky little NES emulator.
Really?
Really? Yeah. So everyone's there talking about the virtual console and when's this going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Well, it seems that most of the things that are ready for the online, like obviously where they're going to do their classic game service, aren't they? It's already there, or it's on your system as we speak. So obviously this
Why
secret
am I
little,
not using it?
well, this is one of the points that some people have had. I mean, it's called Flog, so stunning name. But yeah, it seems that it's probably been there since launch. Um, so it kind of smacks that even if he only had NES games, you would be like, yeah, a bit Mario 3? Yeah, go on then. Why not? They could have
Yeah, I
got
think I probably
themselves,
would actually.
yeah, totally. But, we know what Nintendo are like with their plans. They're going to stick to what they're planning and be damned if anyone else can have a better idea. But it
Mhm.
just shows that they're getting ready. Hopefully, it should, when it does finally drop, be sort of ready to go up and running straight away, and we shouldn't be sort of see any problems. Hopefully, but cheeky little emulators
Fingers.
hidden in the in.
Yeah, and Nintendo, they're pretty solid for this stuff. I mean, it doesn't surprise me it's been in there right from the get-go, and they're just like, here's a new package coming just when you're ready to buy it. But they
Yeah,
are doing the whole DLC trick of reselling you something which is already on your console.
yeah, or on the internet in this case, because yeah, it was
Yeah.
obviously discovered. I can't remember who or when, but yeah, they were basically just re-downloading the ROMs off the internet. Because why program it when it's perfectly digitally recreated online for you?
Well, all I'll say to people out there is Nesbox, Nesbox, Nesbox.
All I'll
Danger
say
zone,
is
danger zone.
7-4 to the Angry Link.
Yeah, all
So
right.
that
Yeah, fair
leaves
play.
that leaves you with the roundup then this week.
Yeah, I believe it does. I believe it does. So, moving straight over to the roundup, it is, well, Crackdown 3, frankly. We've had such a limit of like general gameplay and free roaming, jumping around, shooting shit, collecting orbs, which is really what Crackdown's all about. And it's looking good, man. I mean, not quite the wishes and promises that we all had when we first saw it, but it looks like a more flex, smoother, more polished version of the crackdowns that we've seen today, which you'd fucking well hope so, considering it's come to the Xbox One X. But yeah, so bit of Crackdown 3 leakage.
Oh yeah, I've seen a couple of stories drop about this as well. It hasn't garnered the hype or promise that I think Microsoft would hope. Because a lot of people are a bit like, yeah, I got GTA Online. Okay, I can't do superhero shit, but still, I've got a bunker.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I
so
think the footage that I've seen of it so far, people have been saying, yeah, it looks okay, but I didn't really play much of Crackdown before. And it's like, well, like a nice Crackdown. It doesn't look
yeah,
like anything to do with like we're going to use some sort of power of a data center to make your game look amazing sort of
no.
shit going on.
Well, it's one of those. We'll have to just again see what happens. Because like most things, the builds that you see at trade shows, because that's imagine where I'd imagine it's from. It's probably from E3. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
they
mean,
generally tend
I
to they're not
personally,
reflective of
sorry, go on,
current
dude.
builds. They it seems so it could
Yeah,
it
they
could still
always
look
seem to
better.
be flying by the. seat of their pants when it comes to what they show at shows. And then
Well,
they spend the next sort of like 18 months trying to like knit fog to make this game that they promised.
yeah, yeah. Well, unless if they go for the Killzone 2 sort of angle, it does. Um, but I don't know. It's wait and see for me. I'm not too bothered about it. I've got plenty of stuff to play at the time, so we'll just have to see how it pans out. If it's got to become a must-buy, it's a meh.
Yes, for me, Crackdown's always you know exactly what you've had before. You're getting the similar sort of thing again.
Yeah,
Buy it or don't buy it, it's up to you. And
with
I
added
think
Terry
if I've got
Crews.
nothing else to play, I'll buy it. Yeah, exactly. Here's Terry. Good old Terry. Right, so then shifting on, well, the rumor mill is going buck wild at the moment. And when we say the rumor mill, we're talking about Xbox yet again. And there's been rumor that so we had a bit of a peculiar announcement. We had the game, or the console, I should say, announced by Phil Spencer recently, and we know a date is coming out, we know a price point, but we can't pre-order it. And it's all seen a little bit peculiar. When you start speaking to the retailers, what we hear is that apparently Xbox weren't supposed to announce it then. They were supposed to announce it at Gamescom, which is coming up on 22nd of August. So everyone wasn't really ready for the pre-orders, and therefore nobody can at the moment. So what's going on? Well, the rumor mill's being us apparently could be to a delay on the console release, and they can't nail the date and therefore can't take your pre-orders. What do you
um,
think to that one, Link?
no, I think it's just speculation's gone wild. Obviously, Phil Spencer's been out on Twitter. I think this morning, I think it was 4 or 5 hours ago. I saw the response posted on line was basically, yeah, it's rumours. Don't worry, it's all. I think it points to the fact that they weren't given enough time, retailers that is, to know that it was going to be dropping. Then they would have. The normal thing is Microsoft would have given the big retailers a sort of a heads up end of July about, oh yeah, this is the date we're dropping the news. Get your pre-order fucking stuff ready. Like you
Yeah,
say, I think it's a case of they're like, fuck, we've got no real big megaton announcement. We have to drop the price and the date now. So I think
I
I
think
don't
you're.
think
I
it's
think you're right.
I don't think it's a problem if they were Spencer's smart enough to say we have to get in front of this as soon as possible. The longer we leave it, the worse it will be. So I think we would have heard by now if it was going to be delayed, or
Yeah, I
it
completely
might be
agree with
worth
you, and I
it
think
might be worth
also
waiting until the 22nd of August to Gamescom.
maybe.
There's the true
I,
announcement.
I don't think what they can really do is announce a console and a date and then not be confident they're going to hit it if it's in
Exactly.
such
Yeah.
sort of near future. They were talking like 4 or 5 months away. At that point, they know what their production plans are and
Yeah,
how
that's
far
it.
in they're going to be and how many
Well,
units they will have
would
created and all
would
that's
you
all already have created.
would you as a massive multinational manufacturer, well, not they're not manufacturing, but you know, you've got this big product coming out. Would you announce the date you're going to release it if you haven't got your manufacturing timeline set?
Exactly. I mean,
I mean,
they're on a
I'm
tight program. Exactly what they're
yeah,
that project manager be working his nuts off, or
like
project managers.
I'm smart enough to know that, and I hope that there's people at least smarter as me working at Microsoft. So
No
touch. Yeah,
guarantees.
exactly. I hope. Hope is a wonderful thing. Um, so I think
So all
that's
I'd say on that one is we should
wait
sort of keep an eye out for
wait till
Gamescom, 22nd of August, you know,
Gamescom.
exactly, you know, Germany hands on for the first time with the consoles. It's going to be interesting. So wait and see, wait and see. So Friday the 13th has come up in the news recently. More importantly, the Xbox version. So the game released, it was buggy. But strangely, it's built itself a cult following. It got destroyed on the reviews, yet people are still playing and loving it. And so, with this buggy game being out there, the developers, Ilphonic, have said, "Don't worry, guys, a patch is coming really, really, really soon." Well, though, was the paid in the release of their retro JSON content, which failed to get an export certificate. Now, I want to know why. Is it not because of the gruesomeness? Maybe. But I think it could also be because it was shonky as shit.
I think you're probably right. It got butchered on Steam, didn't it? just because it was a
Absolutely
buggy mess.
destroyed.
They've been sort of batting down or manning the battens and all of that stuff, getting that all patched up and trying to get it in as better playable form as it can possibly be. And then I think they're starting to add stuff now because they give away loads of stuff as well, didn't they? As a sorry, it was really shit at launch.
Yeah,
Commiserations
yeah,
kind of
and they
thing.
needed to as well. But the worrying thing is out of all of it is that you've got this sort of activity kind of going on with the game, and you're thinking, okay, it's not quite right, but at least somebody's trying to fix it. And then in the background, you've got like the original in 13th and that sort of like ilk. Victor Miller is basically going into some massive legal battle with the people who currently own the IP, Sean Cunningham and Horror Inc. And they're basically just going at it like arm and leg, sort of trying to beat the living crap out of each other legally. The lawyer from Monsters Inc. even went, "Hey, don't worry, this isn't going to affect the game." But without some sort of legal ruling, I don't know if he can say that because if the other guy gets hold of the IP, this game's just going to fall to the dust. So
Well,
it's
I
got all
think
the trademarks of a cult following game, hasn't it?
yeah. Well, it's one of those though. I think now it's out in the wild. Yeah, don't worry, the game's not going to die unless you own a console. So
Yeah, just make sure you buy it while they still got the license to
yeah,
sell it.
buy it on PC.
Yeah, exactly that, exactly that. Cool. So, furthermore, we've Sonic. You know our old boy. The answer's not a lot. Well, with the pending Sonic Mania release, they're pushing that shit. They're trying to get you to buy anything. Just buy something Sonic, will you? So, 50% off all of the Sonic games going on at the moment. Just somebody, please buy something. We've got to sell this shit. So keep an eye out if you want to go buy an old shitty Sonic game. Now's the time to do it. Cited link.
Sorry, I'm trying to get that excitement together. So no, not
Come
really.
on. Ah, moving swiftly, swiftly on. Street Fighter 5 new costumes are coming your way. So if you are sat on your own playing your copy of Street Fighter 5 and everybody else is out there still playing Street Fighter 4 because they made it console exclusive, but if you are still playing it, great news because there's new costumes coming your way. More specifically, there's three of them. So Ryu, Ken, and Guile are getting a fresh look. Ryu getting a bit of a Bushido thing going on. You've got Ken, who looks somewhat similar to almost Rugal from King of the Fighters, the whole sort of red suit thing. And then just for the pièce de resistance, they wanted to make Guile look like he actually was going to war rather than maybe a gay club. So they put him in some actual body armor and something which looks like he could actually be camouflaged if he was in a desert. What do I think of this? I've got the game. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to go out and buy it. But does it tickle your fancy, Link?
No,
In any way
quite frankly,
whatsoever?
no. I'm not really a fighting game fan to be honest. There's a few, but no, it's one of those. It's kind of when you look at like people that aren't suited to go to the gym or need to go to the gym, and they go to the gym, and they're like, and you've got all of these monsters, gym freaks that you're just like, no, I'm gonna embarrass myself greatly if I come here. That's how I see Street Fighter Five or all Street Fighter and pretty much most fighting games.
Okay, so look, shifting swiftly on, and the final part of my roundup, because we've actually got a little bit more coming your way, is Xbox. They've decided to add custom profile pics now. So, fed up of being limited by your avatar or some generic looks, you can put pictures of your junk on the internet now and represent your Xbox profile with it. I'm quickly do. Hey, folks, enjoy.
Enjoy those not safe for work gamer pics. So
Damn right.
I
Cool.
suppose
So
this
we've got
is
a bit
where I
more of a
take.
roundup. We're
Yeah,
not quite
I'm
done.
gonna take up the baton.
Link is taking the link.
Yes, so Nintendo have filed for a mystery trademark in Japan. We have seen the Nintendo check-in trademarked under a Category 41 trademark, which, according to the site which I found the news on, it can be used for screening and production and musical performances, planning tournaments, providing games online, entertainment facilities, and the rental of toys. So again, this is all going to tie into their online service. But they've got the trademark now.
The rental of toys.
Yeah. Again, you could read so many more things into that if it wasn't Nintendo. Moving on.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, Nintendo is a safe name to put up against it, but I probably wouldn't be so concerned if it wasn't in Japan because
yeah, that's
the
the thing.
rent,
If
some of the toys that you can rent is just
well, if
mind
you was to,
blowing.
if you was to hear the phrase Japanese company offers online toy rental, you would have some trepidations and some skepticism as to its
I would think twice.
who who it was for, the age range, let's say. Anyway, moving on before this gets somewhat more disturbing.
More lurid.
Yes, lurid, that's a good word, or lucid. Nino Kuni 2, unfortunately, has been delayed into 2018. Obviously, this is the
No.
sequel to Nino Kuni. It was due to fall in sort of mid November, but now it's got a couple of months delay to the 19th of January. So, not a great lengthy delay. So, that just more months to give it a little bit more polish. So, it's one of those. I'd
Well,
rather.
to me, that is the perfect time for that sort of game to come out because that is you've had your January, like, you've maybe got your January paycheck showing up, and then boom, you've got yourself like a nice early spring, February game. Nino
Yeah.
Cooney just seems right. I'm okay with that.
Well, this is a game that you can chunk some hours into. Um, and it should, if you needed to, because it's not exactly going to be a sparse amount of games coming out, but it could see you through to Red Dead 2. You never know.
Yeah.
Um,
And do
seems
yourself a favor, if you can get a hold of it, as soon as they announce some obscure, high-end, most expensive, rare copy of that game, fill your boots, get those pre-orders down, because this thing is going to sell like you wouldn't believe.
yeah, and there won't be many copies. And I still think that's one of out
Nope,
of
there
like the
wasn't.
PS3 era games that's most likely to still hold value, if not more value than it originally was.
Well,
So I
I had
can't.
the pleasure of owning the rarest copy of the original game,
How many
and
times
I
did you
took
own
it
it?
into well, quite a few actually, because I took it into a retailer who did a price promise to another retailer, but they had priced it at something like £35, and the other retailer had priced it at like plus of 70. So they had to beat the other price by a pound. And I then proceeded to buy it back off of them and then go sell it to the other place.
Nice.
So, good times. Good
Um,
times.
so moving on, we've seen some more info
Yes.
for Ubisoft's Toys to Life game, Starlink Battle for the Atlas, or whatever the subtitle was.
Cool.
Basically, they've talked a bit more about how the toys are going to be used. It seems more interactive than like the rest of the stuff. Whereas, you might shit, you just stick like in Portal and that's it. Obviously, Lego.
Yep.
At least you can play with Lego, but essentially it's build something or just put the little disc on and keep the Lego away from it. But
Yep.
this, it actually has impact on gameplay because you can have the ship on your controller and you can take bits off and put them back on as you're playing. We'll say you've got cannons,
Yeah, it looks
and
absolutely fucking ridiculous.
but if you've got like your cannons or missiles, they're facing forward. Quickly fucking turn them round. You're getting chased by some dude in a dogfight. You can quickly turn them round on your controller, and fucking yeah, they're facing backwards in the game and stuff like that. So they've actually approached
Yeah,
it
man.
that you're playing with the toy to play with the game, as opposed to just I'll put
So
that toy there.
that's a really nice and novel idea, but what worries me is you're going to end up like some hardcore like what's those like Warhammer workshop people who
Yeah.
like speed runners, speed painters, like modeling a new menu, like oh
Well,
fuck, oh
you know,
fuck.
you know what you're going to basically become. You're going to become Emmett from the Lego Movie,
Yeah, but the shit, yeah, but
but
before you
shit.
can build anything.
Moving on. I don't know. It's interesting. At least they're doing something different. But it's again, it's just another way to milk someone's fucking poor wallet. Poor parents.
I do like the idea they're doing something different, and they really are. So, kudos to them for that. But I don't know if that market needs more
No,
toys. Maybe it does need something different. I don't know.
but it's not Lego, so who gives a shit? Right.
Yeah.
Fire Pro Wrestling World has launched on Steam Early Access. This was obviously the Spike Soft wrestling game that's been out for absolutely years and years in Japan, but it's always had this really good cult following. It's got this really deep AI system where you can really
Nice.
sort of make individual characters. So you could essentially make B, and always use, and you can dictate
Aha.
which kind of moves he uses. Which obviously, sort of going into this, there is already a stupid amount of created characters like Spider-Man and Marvel characters and Batman, that kind of shit. I saw an article on Kotaku that some guy actually got Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather and just fought them against a series of the same characters. So it'd be like the cast of Street Fighter or this random duck meme and shit like that. So it looks interesting. It's a really hardcore, deep, ingrained sort of wrestling game. It's a tough one to get into, but once you do,
Cool.
it's spot on. And
What's
one
the
that
name of it?
Fire Pro Wrestling World. Obviously, it's only on PC at the moment.
Check
But
it out.
yeah, if you're on Steam, it's worth having a look at. And also on Steam, a demo for a new RPG simulation open world RPG has appeared. It's called Time at Porsche, and it's basically a workshop building RPG. You've got this big world, you've got to go out, collect materials, that kind of stuff. Looks interesting. There's a fair bit of character
Right.
customization to the point of it. I mean, it caught my eye because it's free demo, and it's possibly one of the few games that I've actually seen that I was like, do you know what? I really, really do need to get myself a gaming rig because I don't know. There was no talk of it dropping on console. So yeah, that was the end of my roundup.
Cool, cool, cool. So there's a big old bunch of news this week, folks. Lots and lots going on, and I think it should be on a simmer and a bubble now until Gamescom, but there's still stuff coming out the woodwork.
Yeah, I think with the age of the internet, I think they finally realised that have your own moment in the sun as opposed to let's try and shout in a crowd.
Damn right, damn right. So there we go, folks. It's been a big three another week. It's been a bit of a mix up. It's a different audio experience, and it's what you got, so you're gonna have to like it. But until the next time, we're going to always ask you to show some love, show some kisses and some hugs, do the subscribe thing, do the love thing below, and do the forgiveness on the audio thing. That's a good thing. Cool, cool, cool. So until next week, from Angry Link, it's.
Adios.
And from me, it's a little bit of a delay, and I'm out. I'm out. Peace.